Hi guys, today I want to talk about another thing that could be turning off potential dates, and that is the way you type text messages to them. Um, Now, if you've got really bad grammar and really bad spelling, that's going to put a fair amount of women off, or vice versa, a fair amount of men off, if they do have good spelling and good grammar. Because it just shows, like, if you've got terrible grammar and you don't know the difference between Y-O-U apostrophe R-E and Y-O-U-R and so forth, they're just going to think you're lazy and couldn't give a damn about sort of improving yourself. You're bastardizing the English language, basically. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you have gone out of your way to learn some grammar, and you are not too bad at it yourself, it is extremely cringeworthy to see terrible, terrible grammar come through when it's such a basic thing that people should know. Like, I remember when I was in grade 6, and the teacher would go over and over and over the yours and the theirs and, you know, all the rest of it. And I'd be sitting there going, why are we doing this again? Like, duh, we got it already. And now I realise years later, the reason that the teacher was going over and over and over is because people don't get it. Like, to me, I don't understand why it's so hard. It's not a hard concept to grasp. And when you're one of those people like me and you see terrible, shocking grammar come through, it is a turn off. Now, I'm not saying it's right, because, God, it's just words, but it's human nature. It's a turn-off. It's so cringeworthy. And look, it really isn't that hard to just go brush up on your basic grammar skills. Grab a little grammar book or something like that and learn it, or ask somebody you know who's good at grammar to teach you a few things. If you can just get the basics right, like the right yours and the right theirs, and things like that, it's going to be... And how to use apostrophes. Oh, this is another one that's terrible. People putting apostrophes when the word's just simply plural. Like, what's the apostrophe doing there? What do they think its purpose is? It is cringeworthy to those of us who know better. So go and learn just the basic things, and you won't look like an uneducated, I couldn't give a damn about improving myself and I'm just going to bastardize the English language cretin, because it is such a turn off. And like I said, it's not going to be for everybody by a long shot. There's so many people out there with terrible grammar and don't know the difference between the yours and the theirs and stuff. So there's going to be plenty of people that this is going to be completely irrelevant about. But to the chunk of us out there that are pretty good at basic grammar, it's going to be a huge turn off, and it could be could be a bit of a nail in the coffin. It might not be the only nail in the coffin, but like I said, things add up, and it is another nail in the coffin. So is it really that hard to sort of try and improve yourself and pick up on a bit of good grammar? And spelling is another thing. If you can somehow improve your spelling skills, that'd be great too, because, yeah, like I said, when you do realise, when you are decent at spelling yourself, and then you see this shocking spelling, like, what's a good example? Like, for instance, not being able to spell simple words like listen. You know, you spell it with a double S or something. Like, it's cringe-worthy, I can tell you, and it doesn't speak very highly of your intelligence. And you might be really intelligent in other areas, but this is the thing they're seeing from you. Text messages are all about grammar, spelling, English, you know. So if you feel that you're lacking in that area a bit, don't send the text until you spell checked. And like I said, go learn a bit of basic grammar. Another thing is using text speech. I remember, like, you know, how long ago was it? 15 years ago or whenever it was, when we had to try and squeeze everything into one, what was it, 160 characters or whatever it was, kind of like Twitter length. you had to reduce everything down, and to became the numeral to, and your became you are, and all the rest of it. We had to do those things back then. But now with smartphones and there's no excuse for text speech. It's gonna be, you're gonna come across like a 12-year-old. And if you're in your 20s and sending things that look like a 12-year-old, again, it's going to be a turn-off. It's going to be irksome. Nobody wants to date a child. So and it also says you're like really lazy and you've put no effort into texting her. Now, I don't mean if you're in a really, really hurry and you're just going to go, where are you, with just the letter R and the letter U. Like, there's going to be times where it's completely acceptable. But most of the time, put some effort into the text. And I mean, with predictive text and the words popping up that it thinks you're going to put next, it's so quick and easy to write text these days. There's really no excuse for this text speech. So do stop that if you are doing it. Stop the video here if you don't want to learn a little bit of basic grammar, because I will go on to just say a couple of things that you can remember when you're next writing your text messages. But as for the actual video itself, it's finished now, so feel free to stop. But those of you who are interested in a little bit of basic grammar rules, okay, so the apostrophe, let's go with that. An apostrophe denotes ownership, like Jason's car, so you put it after the N and before the S. Or a contraction, so like cannot becomes can't. It's there to replace the words you've chopped out, the letters you've chopped out of the two words. So in cannot, you've chopped out an N and you've chopped out an O. So the apostrophe is there to indicate that there are missing letters. It's a contraction. The word's a contraction. Now, this is generally the only time you use apostrophes. So why people are putting it in like kittens, there are many kittens, like what's the point of the apostrophe there? You do not put it in plural words, and I see this so often. And you can tell people till you're blue in the face that it doesn't go in plural words, and they still do it. I don't know why. I don't know why they do it. Okay, so apostrophes, contraction, and to denote ownership. Now, if it's plural, like the boys' toys, and there's more than one boy, it doesn't go between the Y and the S. It then goes after the S because you want it to be a plural word, so it goes after the S. So it would be BOYS apostrophe, the boys' toys. Okay, there and there and there. So I don't understand why people have a problem with this one, because there over there, okay, is really they are over there. So they are becomes there, THEY apostrophe RE. It's a contraction. So it's got the apostrophe. It's a contraction of they are. So I don't understand why so many people can't get that one right. To me, it's very simple. And THERE is a place, a location, position, whatever. And they're like their car. They own it. Well, it's a person. It's a person or two, isn't it? So there's an I in it, and an I is a person, a human, whatever. So THEIR is talking about the person, like their car. Okay, so try and remember it that way. Now for the yours. Again, YOU apostrophe RE is a contraction of you are. It should not be hard to remember that one. And then everything else is YOUR. Unless you're talking about the Christmas days of yore, YORE. So again, not a hard one to remember. I don't understand why so many people have issues with that. Anyway, so look, they're the main ones that people get wrong. And I'll try to remember the rules I told you, because, like I said, it is extremely irksome and a turn off for those of us who do have a grasp of basic grammar. Oh, and look, one more that's actually quite irksome to those of us who know better is saying me and her went to the shop. It's cringeworthy. It's she and I went to the shop, and the way to remember which way to put it around is to chop one person out of the sentence. So if you went, me and her went to the shop, and then you chop out the and the her, and it becomes me went to the shop. Well, you know that's wrong. It's not. It's I went to the shop. So it becomes she and I went to the shop, because it's she went to the shop. And you always put the second person first. So Mum and I went to the shop. She and I went to the shop. Dad and I went to the shop. And at the end of a sentence, so it's like a lot of people say, take a picture of Mum and I. That's actually quite wrong. They think they're actually doing well and speaking, having good grammar, but it's actually wrong, because, again, chop out a couple of words there and say, take a picture of me, isn't it? So it's not take a picture of I. So take a picture of Mum and me, not take a picture of Mum and I. So at the end of a sentence, it'll generally switch around. There are exceptions to the rule, but I won't go into that. The most part of the time, if it's at the end of the sentence, it's me, not I. If it's at the beginning of a sentence, it's I, not me. Anyway, I hope you can remember those sort of things. The best thing to do, like I said, is to buy a little grammar book and just learn the basics, because you're going to come across as more intelligent. You're going to come across as somebody who cares. You're going to come across as somebody who doesn't want to bastardize the English language. Like, it is really getting bastardized these days, especially in America. And they say, oh, you did good. It's not good. It's you did well. And they don't put ly on the end of anything. Like, just act natural. It's not. It's act naturally. I mean, there will be ways of saying that natural would be correct in that instance, but for the most part, things have an ly on the end, like people when they say don't take it personal. It's incorrect. Don't take it personally. So, yeah, like I said, if you get this is what I did when I was about 18. I bought a little grammar book, because we weren't taught quite properly in school. Like, we were taught the yours and the theirs and everything. That was fine. But constructing a sentence like the she and I went to the shop and everything like that, we really weren't taught. And it's really such a shame, and it should have been taught. So I bought a grammar book when I was about 18, and I taught myself. And ever since then, I will tell you that it's a massive turn-off and a massive cringe fest when people speak with such terrible grammar and really bastardize the English language. So if you want to improve your chances, then this is a really good thing to do. Go grab a book and learn, or have someone teach you. You don't have to, but I will say that it will be just another nail in the coffin if somebody's already sort of on the fence about you. So, if you want self-improvement, go for it. If you don't really care and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be with someone who's shallow or whatever you want to call it, then look, don't bother if you don't want. But, it is nice to have a bit of self-improvement. And it is nice to perpetuate correct English down the line in the future with your children and so forth, instead of it just becoming a big, bastardized mix, like in perhaps the movie Idiocracy. And if you haven't seen Idiocracy, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. It's a comedy, and it's about how all the intelligent people stopped having children, and only, people of lower intelligence had kids. And so then it's in the future, and what happens to the earth, and how stupid everybody is in the future. And it is absolutely hilarious. Do rent it. It's great. It's called Idiocracy, by the way, in case you missed it. Okay, long video, so I'm going to leave it there. And from Aussie Land, farewell.